All right, so Annihilator's new album, For the Demented. This is their 16th studio album.
They've been around for a while. They're one of those 80s thrash bands, you know?
Yes, the Big Four of Canada.
Which means 4 bands no one's ever heard of.
I mean, Voivod, Razor, and the third one.
So 4 bands no one's ever heard of.
Anyway. Anyway, they're a classic sort of thrashy sort of band that we've been meaning to listen to for a while, but it's just not super high on the list. Right now they're on tour, about to go on tour with Testament and Death Angel. Sick. So that's an awesome concert that I would love to see. It's
better come to the city we live in. So
this band is a majority Jeff Waters. And on this album, everything was co-produced, co-written, co-engineered by his new bassist friend Rich Hinks.
Okay.
And he said that it was really interesting having someone else in the studio, that it's been a really long time since
because it seems like he's... So, what's his face?
Jeff Waters?
Yeah, Jeff Waters is the only one who's been in the band the whole time.
Consistently,
Basically, it's his band, and everyone else has been kind of a revolving cast of various people.
Although, I believe in 2003, 2010, they did have the same singer that was not Jeff Waters, but on this album, Jeff Waters is the singer again. And we'll start right at the beginning with Twisted Lobotomy.
Twisted Lobotomy. How'd you feel about it?
This was the thrashiest song on the album, in my opinion.
I agree.
And it was really good, and it was the first single, and it's just everything that's good and old school and traditionally thrash is in this song. This one even had a music video, which I watched. And they're in some weird abandoned house, and it's just them playing, and it's really good. You can see how they do these really, really fast riffs. It's really good. The intro is these really simple sort of little harmony sort of sections.
I really like that they and it appears several times throughout the album, the guitar harmony.
Yes, there is
really nice.
A lot of guitar harmony, and because this is a 4-part band, which means there is a rhythm guitarist in addition to Jeff's lead guitaring and singing and everything.
He really does it all.
Yeah, he really is just one of his albums, didn't he produce entirely by himself? Like he did all the parts?
Go him.
I don't know. Anyway, so this song it's got a crazy lead and speed metally, almost sort of nonsensical bit at the beginning.
I would say, I said it had a mini Slayer solo.
Yeah, where it's just sound. And
so Slayer solo.
It was really thrashy and really good, and was a really good way to sort of get, traditional thrash ideas in there. Mm-hmm. But then it goes...
I was going to say, what kept, and I didn't realize until the second time we listened to it, the way he says Twisted Lobotomy is the same rhythm as he goes Twisted Lobotomy, just like Primal Concrete Sledge.
Wow,
Pantera.
It's almost like thrash bands all sound very similar.
I couldn't, and once that occurred to me, I couldn't get it out of my head. I'm like, it's Primal Concrete Sledge.
I would say...
Just for that line.
The biggest thing about this is that it's this song, actually the whole album, kind of has a more smooth tone. It's almost backs away from metal a little bit. It's got a very sort of... The crunch is very smooth and Well,
and you can especially see it on a couple of the later songs.
Yeah, where they don't cut the mids as much.
Yeah. Which, is it really thrash metal if you don't cut the mids?
It's not really. But anyway, so the bridge in the song goes on way too long for a very simple riff.
Yeah.
It's just
definitely is boring. And they add these little mini riffs, it goes to the chung 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 doo, but those are quiet in the background.
Yeah, it's very, very backwardly mixed is the word I'm looking for. Anyway, but the bridge just goes on and on and on. For a song that's over 5 minutes long, this bridge just didn't need to be that long.
Yeah, and that's a recurring problem, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. We'll discuss, the overlong parts. This album is 48 minutes long, and if you cut out all the unnecessary parts, it'd be about 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
But so then suddenly the solo starts out of nowhere. After the bridge goes on way too long, then the solo comes in, and it's exactly what a thrash solo should be. Yeah. It's loud, it's all over the place, it's got no consistent time signature, it feels like it's super Slayer.
And then the end of it has a 6 slide.
Flanger. Yeah, it sort of dies. It's like a dying animal is how I describe the end of this song. It may be a dying animal, but it's the one we have to kill.
One to kill. Did you want to kill this song?
Well, it definitely had me in the clutches of the Queen of Mean.
Queen of Mean.
Oh,
great
such
lyric.
A great line. This
album is full of great lyrics.
Such a bunch of weird lines, just very odd story. Which is kind of a contrast to Theory of a Dead Man, which we just reviewed, which is where there's goofy lyrics for the sake of just, I don't know if it's just bad writing, and this goofy lyrics for the sake of, it seems like they're genuinely having a good time in the studio.
Queen of Mean.
The Queen of Mean. So this song, I would say, right off the bat, I was really annoyed how the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus basically all had the same riff.
Oh, yeah, the chorus and the verse blend together so much. Like, it literally took until the second repeat of the chorus. I'm like, well, this verse has gone on a long time. And then I'm like, oh, that's because it's been 2 verses and 2 choruses.
Yeah, it's because it's the same riff. It doesn't really change up. I think it might go up higher on the scale.
And the rhythm changes a little bit.
A tiny bit. It's mostly and that's what it is by itself. And while the vocals kind of, in the last song they were more like shouted or whatever, the song they're a little bit more sung, and that leads to a more like, the rest of the album has a lot more like singingness to it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this again later, but this is the first time that I noted that he kind of sounds like he's trying to sound like Dave Mustaine.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting you say this. He deliberately said in an interview about this album that that on his last few albums he felt like he was doing too like commercially choruses, calling too much back to his influences like Megadeth and Metallica and everything. And he said, "I'm deliberately going to try and not do that," and I think he horribly fails. This whole album.
Like this song particularly caught me as very much sounding like Megadeth's more modern. Like, the way the vocals are mixed on their more recent albums.
See, I haven't heard the more recent stuff, but you have.
And whether that's good or bad is up to you.
Yeah. I would say my problem with this song is it was, like I said, it was really boring. It was the same riff again and again and again.
Yeah.
But when the solo comes in, it's really bendy and there's lots of whammy bar tricks. And it's like...
I like it.
And then there's more traditional sort of
and then it just... But the solo, it just ends suddenly.
Out of nowhere.
It's seriously, though.
I mean, yeah, seriously. It just serves business. But, that's a problem this album has a lot. There's a lot of awkward silences in this whole album.
There's a lot of awkward silences, and there's a lot of, like, jump cuts.
Yeah, which means that there's... Yeah, I know what you mean, where it's just suddenly silence, new part of the song just instantly.
Yeah.
Just like and basically after that solo and whatnot, the whole like outro is an entirely new song. Basically,
yeah,
it's got like what is basically either a lead or a solo, and then he's like, I'm also going to sing new words over that, and it's also going to have a new riff underneath, and it's just the entire... And
then the end has like 20 seconds of silence for no reason.
Yeah, it's just I would say the first 5 seconds of the 20 seconds is sort of like guitar resonating, and then it's 15 seconds of silence. It's just like. Cut, get on with it. This is thrash. You're supposed to be pumping up. You're supposed to be going fast.
It's supposed to be like punk, you know?
Yeah, basically, you're supposed to be really, really sort of crazy, you know? But speaking of crazy, I would say this song wasn't for the Demented.
For the Demented. Did it make you feel demented?
No, but it did make fun of my black t-shirts and my music and took my money.
Stupid doctor.
Yeah. We appreciated that the doctor was female in this song. Yeah.
So way to go. That was a nice touch.
Way to go, Canadians. But no, this song also had just some hilarious lines in it because it's about like how I guess metalheads, if they have any sort of psychological problems, doctors don't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this song is the first song to start off with on the album that starts off with a gentle sort of intro. It has this very sort of like
which didn't really make sense to me with the theme of the song.
Yeah, the song is about how like he's basically saying, "Hey, crazy people, I'm gonna stand up and be a representative of all of us."
And so it's like, oh, it seems like I should start like fast right out the gate, just hit you with a thrashy riff right off the bat.
Yeah, but the thing about this album and like the next few songs doesn't do that. But this album for the next few songs wants to tell like stories. Especially, like I said, this song, the next song after that, all want to tell like these really interesting stories, and so therefore that kind of gets in the way. Excuse me, it gets in the way of the music a little bit. I would say, however, that being said, the intro is this sort of cleaner guitar with this sort of flanger going on it, where it's just really easy to listen to. It's very smooth while it tells the story.
Well, this guitar intro lasts way too long.
Oh well, yeah.
In my opinion,
45 seconds. You said, didn't you?
Over 45 seconds.
Yeah, so it's just it's a really long one. But then once we finally get into the main riff, it's this like it's awesome, like sort of scaly, climby, wavy
see,
thing.
I thought that was kind of like too much movement underneath.
Really?
Like for the chorus, because that's the chorus riff. It goes doodly 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 dee doodly 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 dee. Like it's just it sounds more like an intro riff or like an in-between verses sort of riff. Like, it sounds like a little leady sort of riff, and as opposed to being underneath the chorus. Like, it's not very catchy to me.
Well, I would say that his singing, this is one for the Demented, it's not very musical, it's not very melodic, so
yeah.
I feel like the guitar was trying to get this sort of like how melodic death metal does.
Yeah.
I feel like the guitar was trying to take up that melodic space, because the vocal kind of doesn't.
Yeah, I guess this song bothered me because I felt like the verse riff was more inspiring than the chorus riff. Not that I didn't like that scale sort of riff. It just, I feel like it doesn't fit in a chorus.
I disagree with you, but we'll move on to the chorus riff here. Because the chorus is this really sort of like pause-filled, groovy, rock and roll kind of thing.
The verse,
like,
you mean?
That's what I said.
Okay.
It's sort of like...
I liked it. It was very rock, yeah.
Yeah, I said it's like, it's groovy, it's hard rock. Like I said, due to the not super heavy tone of this whole album, there's kind of a more of a hard rock feel, especially like in here and in a lot of the solos that don't go to the very sort of like scales, tapping, sort of weird, crazy bends. I mean, there's lots of good, weird, crazy bends in these solos, but this song, I feel, and a lot of the songs have that sort of hard rocky sort of tone and feeling, especially later. Like later, there's several just straight up hard rock songs, I would say, that aren't even thrash metal. But I would say my biggest problem with this song is that about 3 minutes in, there's this. I called it like maybe it's like a keyboard thing, or maybe it's whatever. It's this sort of like white noise just takes over for like a
some kind of weird fuzz is what I wrote.
Yeah, it's just sort of like. And then the rest of the instruments are kind of really muted underneath it. And I'm like, is this a problem with the recording? Is this the way they meant it to sound? Is this supposed to be...
apparently the way they meant it to sound.
Is this supposed to be representative of the Demented in some way? Like, maybe they're muted. Know. And it's not very pleasant to listen to. It's not very musical.
Yeah, and then leading out of that is some, like, after that section, then there's some singing, like some bridge singing, and then lead into the guitar solo. And the, like, singing right before the solo is just kind of like, it's a melody at least, but it's kind of like a boring melody, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing. We listened to this album multiple times, and I don't even remember what the singing was after there, so I guess it was very boring. But then there's, like, this fuzzy, heavy metal, hard rock solo that it's I would say this is probably the shortest solo on the album, but it's really good. Like, it's really, like I said, this whole song has a very hard rocky feel to it, much more than you expect from a sort of thrash or heavy metal album. But then it does
lazy fade out,
and that becomes the curse of this album, is the curse of the lazy fade out, because you expect like these high energy rockin' songs to just end or explode at the end or something. Like the first song went like wow, and now it's like this is the first of several songs to just fade out. And
lazy fade outs are lazy,
and it fades out too long. Also, like I said, if these songs just ended, the album would be 8 minutes shorter. The next song is "Pieces of You."
Pieces of You. It's the ballad of the album.
Oh my gosh, yes, Bon Jovi would be proud of this song.
This song is the best.
This song is amazing. I love this song to death. I would have this song served with mayonnaise, some pepper, a little salt. So good. Sorry, these are the lyrics.
You forgot. It's a romantic dinner for two.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. So it's kind of funny. I'll mention Slayer really quick. When we see Slayer live multiple times, Tom Roy always goes up and he goes, "This is a love song, but it's like a Slayer love song." And it's Dead Skin Mask every time, because it's about, creepily wanting to be inside someone's skin. This is the equivalent of that song for Annihilator, because it's literally about, like, a couple who has an argument, and then he, like, eats her.
And then he kills her, and chops her up, and then eats her.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'll wrap you up in a white sheet, take you to the kitchen, get something to eat. Like, literally, that's, like, the lines. And I'm like, this is some of the goofiest writing ever.
It's so goofy, but it's self-aware.
Yeah, it's the fun kind of goofy, not the I'm bad at writing lyrics goofy.
Yeah, maybe a little bit if I'm bad at
yeah.
writing lyrics, but it's at least taking the, I know I'm bad at writing lyrics, so I'm going to be kind of silly about it.
Yes, so this song is not a heavy metal song. It's certainly not a thrash metal song.
No, it's not.
This is an 80s, like, hair ballad.
About eating your significant other.
It's so great. So like I said, the vocal even goes a little more hard rock. It's a little more gentle. It's a little more balladic.
Yeah, definitely his largest attempt to sing on this album.
Yes, and I would say because he himself is probably not that much of a melodic singer, it kind of gets overlayered in the chorus section.
A lot. It almost sounds like there's a group of people singing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just, or it just kind of like blends in weirdly, but I just kind of attributed that to that kind of 80s ballad sound.
Yeah, so
I don't particularly enjoy.
Really reverby. It's really big.
Yeah.
It sounds like arena rock. The drummer's going really slow. It's fantastic.
But the thing is, I was able to tolerate that because I was listening to the lyrics, and it was hilarious.
It reminds me in idea of the Body Count song where he talks about being a crazy murderer, because it's just got this sort of overwhelming wink going on the whole song where it's winking at you. But then the song is all like major. And then finally, at like 2:45, it switches entirely and becomes like a minor song. And then there's the sound, literally, of someone eating a meal. There's utensils scraping on plates and stuff. And you're like, what is this song? I don't even understand what's happening.
Yeah. And then there's a sweet guitar solo.
Yes, I would say that it's like a slow jam 80s sort of like... That's why I said like Bon Jovi. It's very sort of like... feel the soul.
It's got so many emotions, which made me laugh because I'm like, this is such a soulful, emotional solo in this ridiculous song.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane, and I absolutely love it to death.
And except it has a lazy fade.
Okay, well, this song makes sense to have a lazy fade because, it's slow jamming out. It's like, oh yeah. Plus, when you're looking at the feeling of a song like this, it's better to go with the demon an easy lazy fade, than to go with something experimental.
The demon
I certainly felt like I knew this song and its tone and its lyrics from somewhere else, not necessarily from Annihilator.
Yeah, this is, as we mentioned Dave Mustaine before.
This is the Mustainiest. This is Mustained as dark as it can be.
It's got that mistake.
Exactly. No, like the verse is this very sort of bass. And
then with Jeff talking over it.
Jeff just, it's like talking about his addictions, which is a thing that every thrash metaler loves to talk about.
Because you got demons, man.
Is this one alcohol, I think?
I think it's alcohol. It could apply to any kind of addiction, though, I think.
But this is just a very traditional heavy metal song. Mm-hmm. It's got a sweet lead. It's like with like bends and just
honestly,
pentatonic.
After the last song, I was kind of expecting this one to be a lot faster than it was.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting it to go in with a thrash business.
Yes, I would say this whole album is not as thrashy as I expected it to be. It really runs...
But really, thrash died in 1991, so what can you do?
You're going to get a lot of angry comments about that. Anyway, but no, so like I said, the verse is very bass-driven, and I, as a bassist, love to hear that. Just his vocals with the bass on it, it's this really sort of low, thunderous-y sound.
No, I always like the sound of, especially if someone's doing the sassy talking sort of verse, which is what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
The traditional sass talk over bass is a sound that I quite enjoy.
But something that it does do that's very thrashy is that during the chorus, there's this sort of call and response thing. This guy loves call and response choruses where you just say a line and then there's the thrash chant back. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely like a classic example of one. And I think like almost every song here till the end has that sort of call and response sort of sound. And it's just so pleasant and easy to sing. And he said, that he was going away from commercial choruses and something that's like, oh, that's really mainstream. But he still makes a very easy-to-sing chorus despite that.
Yeah. And
I like that personally. My only problem is when the solo gets around, it's thrashy, it's got bends, it's got tapping, it's got lots of shreddy business.
It's got everything you'd want.
It's got everything you want in a solo. Problem is, it's occasionally so fuzzy and distorted and that it occasionally becomes really muddy, and you can't hear it as well. You can't hear it distinctly. Yeah. And in a thrash solo, I tend to really like to hear, like, I want to hear your skill.
But you like Kirk Hammett.
Okay, well, you know, everyone loves Kirk Hammett. Kirk Hammett is best Hammett.
What?
I don't know. I like the Injustice for All era solos the best, of course, right? And Master Puppets, those are the best, and those are really good.
I like the Saint Anger era solos.
Anyway, moving on. But yeah, no, so this song also has a lazy fade out, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Because this is one where it doesn't need it. Like, I understand if you're going to 80s
well, yeah,
jam...
especially because it's got, like, it has this sort of leady bit happening, and then it fades out on that lead. And it's like, you should have just, played that lead and then had the last note sustain, and then there you go, that's the end of the song.
Yeah.
Instead of having the other parts continue and it be a lazy fade out.
Yes, like I said, that's the problem. It's like the last 3 songs have all faded out. And so there's eventually, it's like, unless you're flowing from one song into another, you know, I feel like your lazy fade out shouldn't happen more than once or twice in a row, because then it just gets...
Just at all.
Some people like lazy fade outs. It's okay.
Not I.
Well, you know, maybe you should be sent to the Phantom Asylum.
Phantom Asylum. Did it make you want to break out of the asylum?
I didn't know I was in one, and now I'm worried. But, so the song starts off with, I called them
Spoopy sounds.
Yeah, spoopy notes. It sounds like very much like, I expect Ghost to start playing.
Yeah.
And actually, at several points in the song, including, like, sort of the bridgy sections and whatnot, I'm like, is this Ghosty? Is Ghost here? Because it's got this very sort of, like, floaty, reverby, sort of, like, comically minor sort of sound. Mm-hmm. But then, in this song, at least in the verse, the drummer gets to kick it up. There's, like, double kicks in this song. Mm-hmm. There's really fast stuff. And even for old school thrash, you're thinking of sort of like... sort of sounds. This is very sort of... It's really... This is like a fast, metally song.
Yeah, it makes the riff sound more driving than it is, I think.
Absolutely. But what's the guitar thing that was most interesting in this song, I think, was during the chorus, which the words are just chanted like Phantom Asylum, sort of like that. But the chorus riff is a very modern chug, like that sort of like cut off sort of chug sound. And I'm going to use a phrase that a lot of people are going to consider very offensive, and that's that this song is almost thrashcore. And a lot of people out there are going to be like, how dare you say that about this? But this song...
It's chugs.
It's very modernly produced feeling. Like, this one feels very much of the new style, which I said, which is maybe like a less harsh guitar tone, more of a sort of chuggy sound.
When I think blending these, like, spoopy noises with the, like, normal thrashy riff, and then with these, like, chugs in the chorus, like, those... things all together make it very modern.
Yes.
And with the chanty, like, kind of, a group chantiness of the chorus, which is also just a classic thrash thing. It's like, whoa, all these different aspects coming together.
Which is why I said it kind of boils down the core aspects and the thrash aspects and, like I said, glues them together. Which is interesting because the song has, I would call them 2 separate solos, because... the first one is this super reverb, super delay, super wah, super fuzz, super flanger.
Surprisingly slow jam solo for such a generally fast song.
But the thing is, it's got scales, it's got bending, it's got muting, it's got every technique in the book is in this. Like, this solo is crazy, like, it's got everything in it. And it's, like I said...
The slow one?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Like, when you listen to it again, you'll, like, hear everything. It's crazy. And then the second one... Oh, you mean the Old West twangy one?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about... There's 2 solos after that. That's the bridge. We'll get to it in a second. But, so the bridge is this sort of weird, out-of-nowhere Old West twangy guitar.
Yeah.
Like, it literally just sounds like this sort of traditional, you know...
For some reason. I'm still confused by that.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. This song is all over the place. And I think it comes from a place of maybe having 2 writers... in the studio together, kind of, and their brains were not melding together. I don't know. Either way, I think it really didn't work. But like I said, then there's the bridge, which has, like I said, the mutes, the wah, the fuzz, the solo, just everything, all over the solo. It's crazy awesome and intense, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
And then
after that solo, it goes back to the Old West guitar thing for a bit. Mm-hmm. And then it suddenly jumps into this fast solo.
And this solo, I said, is super modern metal. It's super, like, melodic. It's super, like... I said it's almost like a lead from an Arch Enemy song with more, like... With more thrashy bits in it. But I say it's super modern metal. It's super got that clear bell tone sort of sound, as opposed to the previous one, which was very fuzzy and very distorted. And I think it's, like I said, I think this song comes from two separate places. I think it comes from two minds.
It's trying to marry classic thrash and modern metal, I think.
As thrashcore.
With two solos.
Well, basically...
See, it takes the good parts of thrash, like the solos.
It was trying to alter the altar of thrash, which normally we would bow to.
Altering the altar. Did you feel altered?
Well, my problem was that there wasn't enough altering, actually. This song is so traditionally thrash that it's almost boring, because it kind of just checks the boxes.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
It starts off with the hard left pan, which, any true thrash song...
pick slide to full pan. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And then the whole song, including a lot of the solos and the leads, do a whole lot of, like, left, right, left.
Like, in the solos, I really liked the switching between the left and right a lot, because they timed it so that it fit well with the phrase, so it sounds like there's two separate guitars. Of like call and response between the two guitars, and I'm like, that is so cool, such a cool trick to play with the speakers.
No, I think that was the one really good thing this had going for it. Like I said, the riff is just it's super generic thrash riff, and I love generic thrash, it's whatever. But like I said, this song, compared to the other songs on this album, doing a lot of weird stuff, was kind of boring for that. It starts off with a dramatic church choir that, once again, goes on way too long. Mm-hmm. It's just, oh, they're not chanting any Latin words or anything interesting. It's just choir sound. And it's like, I get that, but then it just disappears for 90% of the song after that.
And it comes back at the end.
Okay, so the bridge is really interesting in this song. It goes full symphonic metal on us. There's like a choir, and there's like maybe synth strings. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, there's just sort of like, and I'm like, did like, Nightwish show up? Mm-hmm. Did Epica show up to do the bridge? And it's so different from the rest of the album.
Yeah, like I commented, like, after the second chorus, sudden gear shift into this. Into this weird section.
Symphonic metal. I called it symphonic metal because I just couldn't feel any other way about it. And it really does not fit. It really doesn't fit this song. It doesn't fit this album. It's really inappropriate. And
it's inappropriate.
And the rest of these songs have the exact same feel to me in a certain way. Especially in the last song, there's like a big non-fitting section. And all in all, other than the solo doing the cool left-right switching, there's nothing that stuck out to me in this song at all.
What did stick out to me like a sore thumb, though, is in the chorus. It's got this moment where it feels like there's an extra beat of silence just in the middle of the chorus.
Really? I guess
I
didn't
notice that?
No.
Holy crap! It stuck out to me so much. Like it goes do 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 do, like back into the end of the chorus.
I just felt like it was building tension. I guess I didn't notice it as awkward as you did.
It felt really awkward to me. Yeah, maybe it could be seen as a tension moment, but to me, it just felt like there was an extra beat in that measure.
Like I said, this album has a lot of issues with weird silences. There's lots of weird silences on this album. Lots of weird silence pacing. That's why I said that song sounded like thrashcore or whatever. It's because the chugs lead to these interesting weird silences.
Yeah. But I just feel like those were weird silences in a positive way, whereas this silence in the middle of the chorus is like, what?
It's interesting.
Why is that there?
Speaking of silences, twice in this song, the guitars drop out and the vocal drops out, and the bass gets this sweet sort of like lead. And then the second time, the drum gets this really dry sort of like, really like sort of odd sound. Remember, you even like, what? When the drum got to play this like little lead section near the end. It was just really odd. But it lets both of them, who normally I would say more blend into the background of these songs, really stand out and get to show off their like tones.
Even though it feels kind of manufactured. Manufactured's the wrong word, but kind of like forced musically. Like
definitely. It feels like there's a space made for them.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into the musical rhythm.
Yeah, it just feels like, once again, that there's two different minds deciding what should show up and what doesn't, and they're just not finding the way that they work.
It all began with a big dream. way to go.
The Way. Did you want to find a way around this song?
I did not. This song is great.
It's 0% thrash metal. It's just rock.
This is just hard rock. Or maybe you could almost say this is hair metal.
Nah, I'd just call it rock.
This is super major. It's super pumped up. It's got this sort of
It's very upbeat.
It's super like dancey and fun and silly, and it makes no sense with the rest of the album. There's a song about eating people on this album.
This song is from a different album, possibly from a different band. Like
100%. This feels like totally unrelated. This is what it sounds like a Theory of a Dead band should have made.
Yeah.
But no, the song is also about like living your hardcore lifestyle and doing whatever you want and just enjoying yourself. And that's a very thrash thing to say. The idea of like, whatever, I'm going to party hard, do my drugs, I don't have to be the most famous person in the room, I'm just going to rock and roll. That's totally like a metal thing to feel. But this song is just so like, the vocal is really clean and happily sung. The whole song is very major and sort of like bouncy.
Yeah, and the chorus is just kind of like chords, like dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. It's really fun, and it has to occasionally break out into these little like mini blues pentatonic shred leads to remind you that, oh no, we're also metal. We have skill.
It's shred rock more than metal.
Yeah, absolutely, and that
shred rock is a genre that should exist. By the way,
it probably does. We just don't know it. It's really good, and it's really fun, and it's really. After altering the altar, I feel like this is the kind of like happy, pumped up energy you need to get through the last of the album. Because literally, like. The next, we'll get to the next song's title in a minute, but it ends with this sweet, like, bluesy outro, and then
and then there's just crowd sounds, and then it's, woo!
I feel like it's kind of a D-bag thing to put crowds clapping and cheering for you on the album. Like, wow.
It's because you want to feel good about yourself.
I guess.
Or maybe that was the last song they recorded, so it was them clapping, going, yes, we're done with this album.
You, Daryl. A different kind of feeling. But no, this is absolutely and totally opposite of anything that could even be considered dark.
Dark.
So, Dark is the shortest song on the album.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a song even. It's more of just an intro.
I wouldn't even call it an intro to the next song.
It's not an intro to the next song. It's just a
music piece that exists.
Yeah, it feels like an intro for a 10-minute epic.
Yeah, that's not on this album.
Yeah.
The thing is, so this is the shortest song at 2:09. But I feel like it was literally designed to be the sort of antithesis or the yin and yang of The Way, which is the second shortest song. The last song was the second shortest song at like 3 minutes and 18 seconds.
So it's an outro for The Way, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I feel like they're just designed to counter each other's overt happiness with a sort of like overt darkness. It's called Dark. So it starts off with this like really bassy ambientness.
Noise,
where it's just like... And then the spoopy notes return to visit us once more, and it's got these dramatic doom metal power chords, just like down, 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 down.
Yeah, it's really there's not a lot to this song.
No, it's only 2 minutes long, and like I said, I think there's one set of like 8 power chord notes, and that's it. Like literally, there's nothing to this. I don't know why it's here other than to counteract The Way. And if you really need to put in an extra 2 minutes of darkness to counteract a song, maybe the previous song shouldn't be on the album.
Yeah. So.
Either way, whatever they were thinking, clearly these guys are not all there.
Not all there. Was it all there for you?
It was certainly not all there. So this song is half a great thrash song.
Yeah.
The other half is
it's 3/4 a great thrash song.
And the other quarter is a Motown funk song. I'm not even kidding. It is. There's just no way to describe it. So
seriously. Like,
so this song is about being a teenager with like ADHD
yeah,
and being
what I was getting.
And slowly like losing your mind and being disinterested in stuff, and it's meant to, I believe, sound crazy. It's meant to go from the traditional thrash to that sort of Motown funk.
I get like if it's about a person with ADHD, the song has ADHD, you know.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the thing but the drum is the classic sort of.
Yeah.
It's really like it's got that classic thrash tone like I mentioned earlier,
Yeah, my problem, like, when first listening to this, my biggest problem with it right on the outset was that it didn't make sense with Dark before it. Because I was totally expecting Dark to be an intro to this song.
Yeah, this was
and
like
then it wasn't. And I'm like, the fudge is this?
Slow,
like,
heavy doom riff that reminded me a bit of, like, Overkill's song about, what's this, a spider or something, or whatever, the 8-minute long one.
Yeah.
And it starts off with that very sort of slow riff, and then, just goes straight thrash from the beginning.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that is dumb.
Yeah, and so the verse and drums and everything is fine. Then the chorus, I feel like the choral singing, the guitars, and the really, really fast drums and they all have weird layers, it's not cohesive at all. And I think it's designed to sound a little crazy, like I said. But the chorus is just not a good piece of music, in my opinion. It does not work at all.
It didn't bother me so much. I didn't stick out to me as aggressively wrong.
Like, I just wrote, like, it just doesn't match at all. There's really weird layering going on. I didn't enjoy it, but
I guess I was paying more attention just to the lyrics.
Okay.
And the vocals more.
Okay, well,
weirdly.
It's strange for you.
Usually it's not our issue, but
after the chorus, there's this sweet, like, bass lead. It's awesome. And then
it just suddenly stops.
Stops, and there's, like, weird laughter, because he's just like, heh, heh, heh. It's like, we teased you with how good our bassist is. Now let's mix him back for the whole rest of the song. Mm-hmm. But then it switches just randomly into this sort of, like, Motown-y, funky, sort of like, seriously, like, this old school wah, and like
you have to, like, this, it's something you just kind of have to listen to.
It just makes no sense at all whatsoever, and you're like,
understand how little sense it makes.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, you have to go and listen to this for yourself. It just makes no sense. And then the song suddenly switches into an alt rock song with all, like, these sort of, like, gentle chords and these, like, picked chord notes and everything, and this really soft, heartfelt singing.
Yeah, I never wanted to be like this.
Yeah. And then it switches and finally gets to the solo, which literally the solo is of two minds once again. It's got this sort of modern metal.
There's a slower solo, which has lots of soul. Yeah. In my opinion, I really liked it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's got this call and response between this sort of, like, harmonic, modern metal, very sort of minor thing, and then it switches to these, like, blues, like, shreddy sort of sections, and then back to the slow one, and then back to the shreddy sort of sections. And they have this call and response thing, which I guess is supposed to represent the duality of this person's mind. But all in all, I just felt like it was a really good solo that was just marred by weird structure. Mm. And that, for me, kind of... This whole song is marred by weird structure. And the thing is, it's got tons of good pieces. It's just a lot of those pieces make no sense together. I think we both, as soon as, like, the funk started playing, we were both just like, what?
Well, and I thought it would just be a weird moment in the middle, but no, it comes back.
It's the outro. Like, literally the song ends playing the funk stuff.
The album ends. Like, this is the last song in the album, and it ends on this weird, like, business.
Yeah. It's just so strange. And for that reason, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I think this is the worst song on the album because of that. It mars the album. This song does.
I wouldn't say it's that dramatic.
I think the rest of the songs have a good, solid metal quality to them. And this, with its funk, Motown, classic wah sound, is just so off base that it doesn't make any sense. I think it might have got
too lost in the concept. Because I think the point was to sound a little ADD and crazy. And, like...
But I think they could have done that while remaining within the metal genre.
Yeah. I think it got lost in that idea.
So, I'm going to start by saying, this is my worst. And of my 3 worst, there's this one. And then Altering the Altar, which did the same thing, where it's like, let's go to have random choral stuff and do the symphonic metal thing. And it's like, what? This makes no sense. This is a good thrash song if you were... Get back on point. And the least worst song, of course, I threw my papers on the floor, but the least worst song, I don't even think I made a note, because I was just like, those two just stuck out as so weird for me. I guess Dark... Because it's not really a song, and it's not really an intro, and it's not really an outro. It just exists. That's
why I would say that's my least favorite. Because it's totally unnecessary.
But I don't want to even include it, because it's just not a song.
Yeah, well, I'm hesitant to include it also, but it's, like... I didn't really hate any of the songs on this album.
Yeah, no, this is an album you'll enjoy.
It's fun to listen to. Definitely, like, just talking about the album as a whole, it felt way shorter
Yeah,
than
so
it
this
was,
album is
and
48
it was fun to listen
This
to.
is 48 minutes, but I would swear this album isn't half an hour long listening
Yeah.
to it. Especially because every new song you're like, what did that lyric just say? Is this talking about eating someone? Is this talking about, like, crazy partying? This guy sounds like Dave Mustaine here. You're like, what? It's just so many places. And because of that, you know, you can never be bored. This is an album that is not boring. And that's why I would say this is pretty darn
Which is
good.
interesting because, like, despite the fact that it does a lot of just, like, it checks a lot of the boxes for thrash metal. Like, even, and, like, subject-wise, it talks about being an insane asylum, it talks about
hating religion,
it talks about...
being crazy.
Yeah, being crazy, it talks about drugs.
And violence.
Like, it literally, as far as song topics go, it's like they looked at a list of, like, what are songs that...
The only thing they missed was Cthulhu.
That's true. They did not talk about Cthulhu.
No, but all in all, so Dark was your least favorite. What else?
Yeah,
what were your ones beyond that?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, One to Kill, I kind of forget about.
Yeah, I agree. One to Kill was. I think that was originally written as my last least favorite. It's just fine. It's just fine. There's no song on the album that's not just fine. As far as songs go. But my absolute favorites are, of course, starting with the least most favorite is Twisted Lobotomy, the single from the album. It's great. It's got that Slayery solo, and even though the bridge goes on way too long, it's got the harmonics in the intro, and it's got this crazy
and
lead.
it's got the Twisted Lobotomy. You can chant along with that. The
group chanting. It's just a great thrash metal song by a great band. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. My second favorite was Phantom Asylum, which once again, it had that sort of like, that had the interesting, weird, chuggy thrashcore chorus, and it had the hardcore double kicks in the verse, and it had the solo, which was, like I said, it had every solo technique in it, and it was really full of like fuzz and delay and wah and reverb, and it was awesome, and it showed off so much skill, and I really appreciated that. And the only thing I said that really kind of marred it was how long the spoopy ghost note section went on. And that's what kept it from being number one. And I think we both have the same number one. Which is, of course, Pieces of You. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but Pieces of You is so much fun. It's so much like crazy hair metal, like I said. It's got such a sweet, awesome solo. It's just everything about it is such a good time.
Well, and the thing is, though it's not thrashy, it still captures the spirit.
No, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, Dead Skin Mask itself isn't that, like, thrashy. Or you know, that song, like I said, that Body Count did was not, like, thrashy. But they both embody that sort of thrashy feeling.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And it was probably one of my favorite ballads of any album. Mayonnaise, some pepper, a little salt.
A romantic dinner for two.
So good.
Yes,
Good.
That it is a great song. And yeah, it is in my top 3 also. I'd say my other 2 are also Twisted Lobotomy and The Demon You Know. I like that one a lot.
It's because you like Megadeth.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, Megadeth is amazing. And the thing is, my thing is it's almost too Megadeth sounding. Like, seriously, when he was done talking at the end, I every time I was like, da-da-da-da-da, sweating bullets, because it just matches up so perfectly.
It does. Maybe that is why I like it, but I just like it because the lyrics are really easy to understand, and like, I like that style with the sassy talking over the bass.
No, I totally get it. So, in the end, does this make you want to listen to more Annihilator? I'm right there. I would totally listen to more Annihilator after hearing this. But the thing I worry about is, so like every album is like bunch of different musicians on it. So I wonder if this is just a moment in time for the band, and it doesn't, and nothing else sounds like that.
Yeah, but we'll go listen to more.
Absolutely.
And any Annihilator fans, tell us if this is a good indication
tell us
of
the best
rest of their music. Yeah.
And so second, would you recommend this to other sort of thrashy people?
I would totally recommend this to other thrash people.
I would deliberately be like, wait till you get to Pieces of You. Then, if nothing else before that sells you on the album, like I think Twisted Lobotomy would easily, but Pieces of You just absolutely sells the whole thing. And I love it to death.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, like, if you're a thrash fan, you'll like it.
And so what do you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay.
I'm going to say a solid 7. It's pretty good.
I'm like, maybe, like, if we say we're 10 is like Master of Puppets,
Okay.
Because we're talking thrash,
We're talking thrash.
I'd maybe say it's like a 6 because there are a lot of great albums.
The thing is, I would say this is a 7 because this, like I said, it will sell you on Annihilator. It has some great songs that genuinely made us smile and dance around and just have that thrash feeling. But this album will not go down in history. This will not be anyone's favorite thrash album, probably.
That's why I was leaning more towards a 6 rather than a 7, because it's like, while it's very entertaining to listen to and fun and stuff, it's like, it doesn't leave me struck with this album is epic and awe-inspiring.
Yes. This album doesn't mean anything. That's the thing. This album doesn't mean anything. But that being said, is this album going on my iPod? Absolutely.
Yes.
So in the end, everyone's a critic, including us. Bye.